What's cooler than a big cold beer? Ice cold. Here we go. Shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it like a Polaroid picture. Shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Traveling in a fighter from me on a hippie trailhead full of zombies. I met a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, do you come from a land down under? Where women go and men don't go. Can't you hear the thunder? You gotta run, you gotta take cover.
Oh, yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Auzzie Rules. It is the 4th of October 2019 here, and it's a lovely evening, a lovely Friday evening. Yes, I'm coming at you on a Friday, which is very unusual. If anybody knows me, I would normally be on the soccer field right now, but the season, the regular season is over. And I've had a couple of weeks break, which is good because I'm been dealing with a few issues. But I can't remember if on the last podcast I think I said that I was playing my final, or did I actually report that we lost the final? Anyway, we went down 3-1 in the final. The fairy tale didn't happen, unfortunately, but you know, the another comp which we call Summer 7-a-side, obviously, whereas the usual comp was 9-a-side, even though a normal game of soccer is 11-a-side. We didn't have the numbers to play 11-a-side as much as we'd love to. Anyway, this Aussie Rules is going to be primary an Artie Lange special, because I've been watching this fella here since he's got out of rehab, and it's a very interesting story. And I know that being a Howard Stern fan and knowing it, I started watching Howard Stern when Artie joined, so I basically know pretty much everything from that point forward. A little bit sketchy on the older stuff, but I have watched some of the older stuff, and I thought that I would. I'm overdue to do Aussie Rules. I haven't done one for this month, so I thought I would do it and then do it like a combo. I wanted to sort of like start reaching out to the odd person here and there and see whether they wanted to call in and have a 10-15 minute chat. I thought for a long time now I've been very content just doing a small podcast by myself talking about whatever I want to talk about, and most of the time I used to have Jeff Count on, President Jeff Count from Toronto. Shout out to Jeff. Usually have Jeff on anytime we can somehow time it right. Mostly I can do podcasts on the weekend to suit the people that I want to have on in their time frame, because generally when I get up on a when I get up on a Saturday morning, I'm free most times, suffering from Friday night soccer. But that seems to be a good time where most people do shows and scopes and stuff like that. You might also notice I fixed my camera and decided to put a little camera there on my screen. So I got my reading glasses on. People know me from what was it, the Hangout days? Yeah, I used to be on camera all the time in the Hangout days, but I just thought I'd check it out and see what it comes out like. But look at me. I mean, I know I'm putting myself down a little bit. Sound a little bit like Howard Stern, but yeah, I got a face for radio, so nah, not really. I'm alright. So anyway, this is a bit of an Artie Lange special. Now, Artie since he's got out of rehab, while he was in rehab and a few other places that he had to go to, he's pretty quiet. There was a few little outrageous tweets there I saw for a while, but he got out, and the two interviews that stand out that I have clips from that I'd like to play you guys, and we'll just have a little bit of a chat about it, is I was looking forward to this. He went on Battle Chats. And shout out to Battle Chats and for doing some really good interviews here. I only watch Grillo. I think that's the main thing, and I don't always know the guests that he has on, and I mean, for me, one of the most boring shows was when he had some Aussie guy on, which was unusual, but I didn't find it very interesting. But he's had Tim Sabian on before, and he had Artie, and I know it was recorded, I don't know, a week ago or something, and then he's put it on. And at the same day, after he did the Grillo interview, which I felt didn't go for very long either, he went over to New Jersey 105.5, and I've seen this interview too, which was much longer than the Grillo. But I've got a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. First of all, Artie, he's doing really well, and but he talks about some really interesting stuff that I've always been wondering about. So anyway, I'm going to play a little clip here where he talks about Howard, and he also does a Jeff the Drunk impersonation. I thought was fucking hilarious.
But, it sounds like Howard has some guilt.
Actually, that's not going to work because that is not playing as I wish it to play. So I may have to do some sort of changes here. Actually, I thought I really did. I thought I had this all queued up properly, and then when you go to do it, it fucks up. It doesn't work the way you want it to work. Okay, I think I might have solved it.
Fire.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's play this. See if it comes out.
And there should be no guilt on his part at all. Howard did nothing wrong. All Howard did was try to help me. He gave me the greatest job ever. I love him so much, and it's a shame that anybody in my life would feel any guilt. I fucked up. I mean, again, I was doing a lot of drugs on this show, fucking up the greatest job ever.
Have you ever told him this?
Not directly, because look, I mean, obviously I think he had a lot of resentments that he didn't want to admit to with me, and I tried calling him a few times after the show. He called me back a couple times.
I remember he once, when Robin was very sick, and Artie was away. Artie was away from the show. They actually both showed up at the hospital to see Robin, and I remember that being talked about as well.
So fucking funny. Jeff the Drunk.
Okay.
2 days after I stabbed myself.
Okay.
I'm in rehab. All right. Somebody gives Jeff the Drunk my number in rehab. I'm in a mental institution.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so
I read your book. I know the whole story.
Right. So Jeff Curro calls up this place, and there's a community phone. No one has their own phone. So this guy who had been up for like 4 straight years smoking crystal meth, he had bags under his eyes, he had a tracheotomy, and he had like a stroke, so he talked like he picks up the phone, and it's Curro, and he comes up to me and goes, Artie, there's a weird sounding guy on the phone. So 2 days after I fucking stabbed myself 9 times on heroin, my life is over. This is what I pick up the phone and hear this. He goes, Artie, it's Jeff. He goes, are you okay? I go, yeah, Jeff, I'm all right, bro. I can't talk right. He goes, I miss you. He goes, are you okay? I'm like, Jeff, yeah, I'm all right. And then there's a pause, and I swear to God, this is what he says to me. He goes, Artie? I go, yeah. He goes, can I borrow $500?
Are you serious?
He asked me for $500, and I called my account. I said, send this motherfucker $500.
Oh my God, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, can I borrow?
Yeah, that sounds pretty believable. Jeff the Drunk's quite a character. I actually used to follow Jeff the Drunk. It was a long time ago. I don't know if I told you the story, but when he was first went on Periscope, and I went on there, and I was following him, and it was funny. Sometimes he'd do, he's singing and stuff like that, and I used to have so many trolls after him, and pretending there was like guys pretending they were women, and he had some sort of special private scopes and stuff. Anyway, I remember specifically this time his fridge fucked up, right? His fridge fucked up, and he did some sort of I don't know if it was a GoFundMe or something, and I actually contributed like $5 or $10 to the fridge, right? And it was like a couple of weeks or something later, and he had the new fridge there all set up, and it looked really nice. And I asked him how his fridge was, and he blocked me. He fucking blocked me. I was so pissed, I'm thinking like, oh my God, like he's just, you get him in the wrong mood, and they think they take everything so offensive. Anyway, I haven't bothered really to sort of like follow him under any other account. I'm actually not sure what his current one is, because I think he's been kicked off Twitter, off Scope quite a few times. So I'm not really sure what his current Jeff the Drunk Addy is on Periscope. But I could try out him again, because it's not coming up on my Scope timeline or whatever. So anyway, getting back to Sadi Lange, there's a couple of things he said on an interview that I thought was absolutely fascinating. He basically talked about what he made during this period of time. He was making $1 million on the Howard Stern show a year, and I've read heaps of Reddit notes and stuff about Howard Stern and how much people get paid and stuff like that, and they were pretty much spot on. So $1 million is really not that much considering the type of humor and entertainment that guy gave, and he was making $3 million on stand-up, on his comedy stuff, and he was always doing shows and going all over the place. But I mean, he was living the lifestyle, like he was gambling like a demon, and he was obviously spending a lot of money on drugs. And they also said that he was taking up to 120 pills a day, which I don't even know how the human body can even take that. So I thought that was really, really interesting. So now I do want to mention another thing too. If anyone is interested in following the Artie addiction saga, a fellow named Wilshon Podtrash did this a long time ago. I didn't even realize he was the one that done it at first, but I remember downloading them, and they fucking go for a long time. There's like heaps of volumes, and unfortunately it sort of stops about where he stabbed himself or something after he left the show. It pretty much stops, and he hasn't. I would be great if he would do another one, because there's enough if he did his research, there's enough out there to do another volume to update the series. But I thought it was very good. So I actually went over to Podtrash to look in the archives and see whether it was there, because I wanted to give him a rap for it, but I actually couldn't find it. So it probably is there. I downloaded it, I think, off the net many years ago, and I've got so much stuff saved. And I've listened to the whole Addiction Saga series probably 3 times. There was one time I drove to Sydney, and I just played them the whole way. Like the whole fucking 12 hours, I played this Artie Addiction Saga. I thought it was quite interesting. And yes, a lot of stuff does repeat itself, but it was well done. It was really, really well done. So that's my shout out there. And I have the files as well if anyone's interested. If someone really wants to listen to it, I could always put it in Dropbox or something. And one thing I have noticed is that, like, everyone's been talking about Artie's nose and stuff like that. And I got a clip later on when he does the New Jersey 101.5, where he actually does talk about his nose. And I think he said he's had offers to get it fixed and all that sort of stuff. But I also noticed that, like, his top lip, his lip looks different. Like, it's not just the nose, because his lip looks different. I mean, it's the old Artie Lange. It certainly sounds like the old Artie Lange, but it certainly doesn't look like the Artie Lange. And he also seems to have lost a shitload of weight. I was looking at one of his pictures where his face was he looked like Humpty Dumpty, and yeah, he's looking so much better. And I think he says he's almost up to 8 months, clean and sober. So, and anyway, when he went on Battle Chats, he came in and he started talking about the Grillo, he started doing the chick that was fighting with Grillo that time, and he also started talking about top shelf liquor. So I grabbed a clip that I thought was really funny where Artie and Howard were doing Tracy and Grillo. So let me play this one for you.
I spoke with former Stern Show staffer Steve Grillo yesterday. He stopped by SiriusXM headquarters.
Douchebag. Douche.
He's unemployed.
No one's interested in anything you have. Oh, of course he's unemployed. He's a 7-year intern. He's a douche. And no one's interested in anything he has to say.
Douche. Fuck you.
Fuck you, douche.
Wow. I wonder what Tracy would say if she heard Grillo was unemployed.
Oh, I'd say, you know what? You have any other bulletins?
What? You expected this?
Yeah, this is the most expected thing in the history of radio. He's a douche.
Douche.
He can't even bartend good. He's unemployed. He sucks at radio. He sucks at bartending. And quite frankly, no one's interested in anything he has to say.
Douche.
Is he a total loser?
He's a total loser, a total douche. He'll always be a douche. We could have went somewhere else and got twice as drunk, twice as sloppy fucking drunk for half the fucking price. So fuck you. You had to promote a bar that was losing money so you could impress your fucking douche boss. I don't give a shit about you or any of your fucking douchebag friends. So fuck off.
Fuck you. Douche.
So why did you talk to
When she
Gorilla?
calls you a douche, and it's like, it cuts through you like a hot machete through butter.
Douche. I said, do people
I should
come up
play
to
it.
you and say douche? He said, no. People
Douche.
come up to him and say top shelf liquor that they
Lega. Top shelf lega.
Top shelf liquor. Douche.
My boss, do you think my boss can just afford to give you top shelf lega?
Top shelf.
When I invited you, my boss said to give them something, but I can't give you top shelf. That was top shelf lega.
When we sat there for 3 hours,
Yeah, but-
3 hours, girl, and not one fucking buyback, not
But
one fucking...
I never said I'd give you the
You're
my
no, fuck you, girl. Listen to me. Not
You're just
one
an
fucking...
intern
We
right
had to
now.
walk 4 blocks in the rain when we could have gone right around the corner to Playwrights and drank for less money and gotten twice as drunk. No, you're a fucking piece of shit. No, you
but
have
you're an
nothing.
intern,
You have no career. You're a second-year
nothing.
intern.
You're nothing.
You're a douche.
You didn't say that. You don't like.
Oh, why don't you go fuck yourself? You're a
Put
douchebag.
my microphone up.
Yeah, my. You know what?
And my boss give you top shelf lega.
You know what,
And I
Grillo?
told
Why don't you top shelf liquor? No, these are interns. They make no money, and you know they make no money because you were a 7-year intern.
Well,
you're a wannabe. You wannabe.
Poor Grillo would have made fucking $0 in that 7 years. Talk about a tough apprenticeship.
I offered you dinner.
I gotta play it. I'm
You
sorry.
wannabe.
I gotta play it.
Yeah.
What page is that? Anybody know?
Page funny. Page funny as fuck.
Page, that's the best bit ever played on the air.
It might
Page.
be. It
Yeah.
might.
Let's see.
It's Gary, page 1, far right column in white.
Okay, I'll give you one.
None of us will go back there, so you take that credit, Grillo. You take that fucking credit and you wear it like a badge of honor. Talk about what, you piece of shit?
How you use fucking Howard Green to fucking threaten people?
I didn't use Howard Green for anything.
Well, wait till we get on the air and we'll see how this goes.
I didn't say that to anyone, Grillo. You know what? It's just another lie about you clearing out a fucking packed house for my 10 interns. Because we were the only fucking people in the bar that... You didn't cover shit. I didn't... You know what, Grillo? You didn't do anything nice for anyone because you're a fucking selfish low...
When you do your impression, I should just be in the background doing this.
No, you know what, Grillo? You did nothing because you're a selfish lowlife. But you know what? You take that, Grillo. You take it and you wear it like a badge of honor.
You didn't even say that you would come
Fuck you, what, you piece of shit? You fucking wannabe. Don't try to talk.
Tracy was quite a funny office manager. Remember when she used to start unloading on people, and yeah, it didn't work out. They even give her a show for a short time.
To me about anything in the world. You know nothing. You'll never get a job. You'll never have a career. You suck. You're a loser. You're a wannabe and a douche.
Single fucking round for anyone. So shut the fuck up. And someone who was a 7-year intern who knows that these guys don't make any money to sit and take advantage of them and not even buy a single fucking buyback. Oh, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna buy you Ace shots. Whatever. Grillo, then you shouldn't have made an offer you couldn't stand up to. Because we could have gone to the play right down the street and spent a third of that fucking money and had twice as many drinks. We all walked 5 fucking avenues and blocks in the rain to come to some bar that you needed to promote to keep your fucking job when we could have gone down the street and drank for a third of the money and been treated a lot better. You're full of shit. You made empty promises that you were not willing to come through on. So I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear it. You're full of shit. You're a fucking piece of crap. That's why you were a 7-year intern. And all the fucking time, all you do is tend to bars.
7-year
Fuck you.
But you can't even hear Grillo, you know?
Just go to your neutral corner and cover up, man. That's all I hope she fucking tires out.
Hurricane Tracy.
That's like, you don't know. If she tires out.
She's definitely sticking up for them.
Eric, how I fucking took him and I fucking bought him a couple of drinks. Or that other girl that I bought a couple of drinks. I can't fucking take care of 12 people.
You didn't buy anyone drinks.
Wind her up.
Promises to everyone, and you did nothing.
Thank you so
You
much
did
for offering me dinner.
nothing.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for what? Fucking us over with a bill that would have been a third of the price of the place we normally go to? Whatever, dude. You are so fucking delusional, it's just irrelevant.
Take you down and have a good time. I offer you dinner and you smack me in the face like this? Get the
I smack you in the face. Oh, I'm sorry, because when you called in earlier, I believe your excuse was, oh, I offered to buy Tracy dinner, but she didn't want to eat, so I was all settled up with what I had to do. You're fucking cheap white trash, and I'm so not interested in anything else you have to fucking say. And this is why everyone fucking makes jokes at your expense on a daily basis, because you're fucking white trash. I'm not interested. Save it. You know what? Save the money on your fucking cheap phone bill, because chances are you probably can't afford to pay it anyway. You
Hold on,
cheap motherfucker.
We got some calls on this right now. Let's go to Jason in Philly. Jason.
Doing a fucking dinner, and this is the way they
Whatever, douche. You're a fucking douche.
Jason, you're on. Jason, Jason, you're on the air.
This is the way you would pay me, and I take it.
What? You know what? You're just a piece of shit. Just shut. This is why everybody makes jokes at your expense. Everyone makes jokes about you behind your back because you're a wannabe and a douche. You know you're a douche. You're a fucking douche. Just shut. What? We didn't get one fucking buyback. Not one buyback. We could have got twice as drunk at the Playwright fucking Horizon down the fucking street. You disgusting piece of shit. You're white trash. You're white trash. And I'm not interested in anything you have to say. You're a white trash wannabe piece of shit. And someone who was a 7-year intern knows that they make no money. You didn't give us one fucking. I don't give a shit about Top Shelf Liquor because you had to promote some stupid fucking bar that you work at to kiss the ass. I don't want to hear anything about promoting. You're a piece of shit and a wannabe. You're a douche. Just shut up, you douche. That takes a lot out of you.
Let's do a show.
Well, that had to be one of the fucking funniest bits that I've seen on that show. That would definitely be. That's definitely got to be in the top 10 of all time, I reckon. That is so funny. I mean, everyone's still talking about it. I don't know what year that was, but everyone is still talking about that. So funny. I'm trying to not to cry and laugh here. Alright, so getting back to the interview that he did with Grillo on Battle Chats. Yeah, if you wanna catch up with any Battle Chats, just type in Battle Chats on YouTube and you'll find the channel. And they do weekly shows. So yeah, Grillo's doing good, and he's learned a hell of a lot since those days. Anyway, getting back to the interview, another little funny part was while Artie was in jail. Now, he wasn't in prison; he was in jail. Some roughneck showed him how to make he talked about how a roughneck showed him how to make a pussy out of some toilet paper, and I thought that was funny. Here we go.
And the COs were very nice to me, good guys. Shout out to all the fucking guards at the Essex County Jail. But I told the story once when I was in Los Angeles County Jail. A Mexican guy next to me taught me how to make a pussy out of toilet paper, because you got to jerk off a lot.
Yeah.
And he goes to me, he goes, "Yo, man, do you ever make a pussy out of a roll of toilet paper?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "What you do is you take the fucking cardboard out of the toilet paper. And he goes, you put it in lukewarm water." He said lukewarm. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna test lukewarm. How's the water in jail?
It's tepid.
Is it fucking lukewarm? And then he goes,
tepid is about the right word.
He goes, you make it into a triangle and you fuck it. He goes, dude, you will never go back to real pussy.
Yeah, okay.
It don't fucking complain.
You know he's been in there too long. Shit like that.
It don't steal your money. It don't fuck your brother.
Oh, Jesus.
He was, I never tried it. I couldn't get the water luke.
It was either scalding or freezing.
That's funny. I thought that was a funny bit too. Yeah. Anyway, and then after that, Tim Sabian made an appearance in the studio, and it was really good to see them because the video panned out, and Artie and Tim had a good hug, and then he talked about how awkward he made it for Tim, because at that stage Tim was Howard's executive producer, or not executive producer, but he was in charge of the show on some sort of high level, and he had to deal with a lot of Artie stuff too. And Artie went on about how he was so sorry for the way that he had been for so long, and he was killing himself on air. And I mean, everyone remembers all the excuses. I mean, those phone calls that Artie made in the morning about why he couldn't come in, and hey Gary, it's Artie, like they were fucking hilarious. I mean, you don't want to see somebody sort of, because it was real, and it wasn't a bit. and a lot of it just played out on the air, and it was quite interesting. And then later on, there was this time when Artie received Gary's check, in like his paycheck, probably either his actual check or the remittance or whatever. He said it was the check, and they never went really into it too much, if I can remember. But I found this very interesting. They talked about this. So I just need to scan across to the right timestamp. But I thought that this was very interesting too. Let's see if I've got it roughly in the right spot.
Makes more than you. Does Gary make more than you?
This is the story. My accountant got sent my checks twice. You got paid twice a month, and I got Gary's check. So the accountant opened it up, thinking it was my check, and he saw the number. So he saw the number, and you could do the math and figure out how much you made a year. So I go, I gotta know. I go, I won't tell anybody, but I gotta know.
Yeah, right.
So he tells me. So it was about,
What was it?
It was about $50,000 more a year than I was making.
But what's the paycheck though?
I'm not gonna say it.
That $50,000 a year, when you're talking about Artie was already making $1 million a year. If Gary's just making another $50,000, I don't think that's right. I think I would have thought Gary, being Howard's producer, would be a lot more than $1 million a year.
Oh, why not? What do you
Go back to the fucking show. I'm not gonna fucking throw about it. This was like back 12 years ago.
So that was 12 years ago. So Artie was very respectful and didn't say what Gary's check was, but he already said that he was making $1 million. So you guys can work out that. So anyway, and then he went. So that was the Battle Chats. So if you want to listen to the whole interview, please go to Battle Chats, YouTube Battle Chats, and listen. It's right there. It goes for about 45 minutes or something. Video's there. You can see Artie, you can see Tim, you can see Grillo. Very, very interesting. I thought it was very, very, it's so good to see Artie the way he is. And the thing is, he's as funny as he's ever been. And it's so great to see him. So apparently that afternoon, because he references it in the next interview, he goes and does this New Jersey 101.5 radio station. He obviously knows this guy. His name's Steve Travis or something like that, and he starts talking to him. Now this interview actually goes for roughly the same amount of time, about 45 minutes, but I've got some few little clips out of here that I thought were interesting. He talks about his nose, because I haven't actually seen him talk about the nose. I think everyone knows how he got the nose, as bad as it is, but let's just have a quick listen to this.
And now I stopped doing it.
And you're keeping the nose too, right?
Well, it's funny. I have a couple of offers from TV shows to fix my nose on television, and I don't know. I'll get to that when I can. I can breathe out of my nose, but like I said in a couple of interviews.
Yeah, so you can see there. I'm sure he'll get to it. Cosmetic surgery. I'm pretty confident they can fix it, because I think he's only just totally blown away the cartridge inside. Or he's eaten it away with the coke or whatever happens. I'm pretty sure they could probably fix it. They're quite amazing these days. So, but he sort of rubbishes himself. He says, "I've got a boxer's nose" and all that sort of stuff. And he also talks about his mum too, because I've always felt so damn sorry for his mum having to put up with this stuff. But listen to this. He talks very, very nicely about his mum.
Never heard you this good. You are so happy. You are cheery. Look at you.
My mother, not an educated woman, didn't get far in school, but she's insanely intelligent. My mom, she says deep stuff, and she the first time she came to visit me in rehab after I was in county jail for 2 months. I was in a crazy halfway house for 3 months, and then when she first came to visit me in this last rehab, she said, "I haven't seen you in so long," and I said, "Ma, I just saw you a month ago. You came to visit me." She goes, "No, I haven't seen you in 30 years."
Wow.
That hit me. That hit me hard, because I'm lucid more, and again,
That's amazing, it's great that his mum's happy. He used to cringe thinking about what his mum would think about some of the stuff he used to do on the show when he was clearly not in very good shape, so it's great, and I'm really, really looking forward to Artie saying that he's doing a Halfway House podcast. I think it's either a show or a podcast. I'm not really sure, but it's going to be called something like Artie's Halfway House. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, Artie's done quite a lot of things since he left the Stern Show, and I follow a lot of them. He had that late night show thing he had going. He had his own podcast basically from his apartment. He was sitting around the table and he had it all set up. And I remember Joe Matarese was on there quite a lot of time, and then Joe wasn't obviously getting anything out of it or as way as money. So I think they had a little bit of didn't talk for a while, but I think they're pretty much mates again. I'm hoping actually he actually does Joe Matarese's podcast, because that's another podcast that I listen to occasionally. I like Joe Matarese. And then there's in this same interview he talks about Howard and Grillo and the Tin Sabian interview. So that's how I picked up that he'd done this interview just after doing the other one. So he was knocking over all his interviews this day. So let's listen to this one.
Pots your pans, your ladies, and if you ever want to ring a bell. But we were the odd couple. That's why I work. But and I respect how disciplined he was. If I get a year clean, God willing, and it's one day at a time, maybe I would certainly love to go back as a guest on the show if he was into it. But I have to reach out for him. I'm gonna give him a call and we'll see what happens.
You could see that you could see in his interviews, that he really loves you. That there's something there that it really hurt him. Like when you read like the New York Times piece.
Yeah, I feel terrible about that, because the ones you like, Kevin will tell you, the ones you love suffer as much as my mother said something else deep. My mom said, when you're in jail, it's like I'm in jail. Mm-hmm. And Howard had to sit next to me every morning, and the other people, Robin is such a sweetheart. Freddie Norris is a genius, and he was my good friend there. And they're watching me, die on the air almost. It's crazy.
Have you heard from any of them? Anybody else connected with the show?
I did a podcast for a guy who used to work there, Grillo, today, and Timmy Sabian, who was the
Sabian's the best.
Sabian's my favorite. I saw Timmy today. Yeah. So I talked to them. And Dougie Goodstein and some of the guys. Casey Armstrong. I love all those guys.
Yeah, that was nice that he mentioned that, because he had such great memories with those guys on the show. And that's another thing too. I used to love Howard TV. Howard TV was fucking so entertaining. I've spoken to a few people, since they took it off, and I don't understand it, because now they've got the app or whatever, and they're doing, from what I believe, pretty much the same thing. You can watch stuff on the app, like the actual video. It's not called Howard TV. It's called, I don't know what it's called, but, and I can't get the app. I haven't worked it out yet. I think I can put a VPN on my phone, and I could probably get the app or something, and I can probably subscribe with a VPN as well. So I'm going to look into it, because, I've always, like I said in my previous podcast, I've always wanted to pay for Sirius. But it's blocked in Australia. It's just blocked. Everything is blocked. They don't provide anything to Australia, and it's just like they don't even want us to listen. It's fucking sad. Anyway, so that's pretty much all the clips that I got out of it. But please, I'm gonna when I post this onto YouTube, I'm going to post the links to the interviews in the bottom of the video so that people can click and watch the whole thing. I don't want to play the whole thing. I don't want to get striked or anything like that. I just pulled some interesting bits from each interview, and I thought that'd be interesting. And I mean, it's just amazing how he's coming good. And I wouldn't be surprised if he sort of blew a lot of his money, if not all of it. But just goes to show you can come back from something like this. It's never too late to turn your life around one way or the other. So talking about issues, yours truly has a few. I have a few little. What I thought was possibly some medical issues, and I had to go and get an ultrasound, and today I went for blood tests and stuff like that. So far. Everything is okay. Everything is clear so far, but we're just digging in a little bit deeper to try to sort out some issues I have. It's not going to stop me from. It doesn't stop me from working. It doesn't stop me from doing stuff at home. I guess I'm hearing the obvious from my friends and family. It's like, well, you're getting older now, Darren. These things happen. But anyway. So hopefully I'll be fine. I'm even contemplating actually going for a run. Got a bit of a plan to lose some weight to help with my lower back. So I probably need to lose a few kilos in the tummy. and stuff like that. So, and I was just thinking while these Howard Stern clips and Artie Lange clips were playing, I said in the beginning of the podcast I was going to start to reach out to various various people that I know from the old community and stuff like that, and see if they want to like jump on for a 10-15 minute interview with me or something like that. It doesn't have to be live and in the middle of my podcast. I can always just have conversations with people and record them with their permission, and then play them into my podcast. So, you know, and I thought the first person I thought of that I actually wanted to chat with just to catch up was Doc Ivan, and he pretty much palmed me off, which I'm very disappointed in. It's not the end of the world, but I'm very disappointed in. He seemed to think that I wanted to talk about that old K&F or whatever it was, Kermit Town thing, and that was the furthest thing from my mind. And I wanted to actually just catch up with him because we share a love of the Howard Stern show, and I certainly wanted to listen to his opinions about Artie Lange and Howard Stern and all the crew and all that sort of stuff. And I thought that would be interesting to talk about because we're both. I mean, he's way into it more than me, and I listen to I don't listen live to the show. As I explained, I can't get the show. I have to download it like days later. So eventually they get put up, and then I download them on the phone, then I listen to them. So, but I watch the clips that Howard Stern puts up on Twitter and stuff like that. So especially, some of the interviews don't really interest me. They're people I didn't even know. Like I didn't even know that 17-year-old girl that went on there the other day, Billie Eilish or something. I didn't even know who that is. But she had a fantastic voice. But so Anyway, so this is pretty much me for the week. Oh, for the month actually. I'm only doing one podcast a month now. I might throw in the odd one, but I wanted to do one tonight because it's the first for a Friday night that I've been sitting here home, and I thought to myself, you know what, jump on. Now I didn't do it like one thing. I don't know whether people are going to notice, but I didn't do this live. I didn't stream it live on Periscope. I decided to record it first and have a quick listen to it to make sure it all sounds great. It didn't really. I didn't think it would really pay to do it live on Periscope because most of the people that I follow are not in my country. There's a couple. There's probably 3 or 4 in Australia that scope around now that I could easily jump in on Scope and join them. But most of the people that I've been friends with for quite a long time are either in the States or Canada, and I figured that by me not going live, I'm not going to take call-in. Actually, that's one thing I haven't tried yet, is doing a podcast and then streaming live on Periscope and then having call-in guests. I think it would work the same as just if someone called in on Skype. I think it would be exactly the same, but I haven't tested it yet. So I've actually been a guest on Hansi's Scope. So actually, let's talk about Periscope for a few minutes here. What are we getting up to? Around 45 minutes. That's cool. I always try to keep it to an hour or less. I've been watching a lot of Periscopes, and I think I mentioned this in my last podcast. And I'm because of the Howard Stern connection, I listen to a lot of Hansi's Scopes. I tell you what, he might be I don't know how to describe it. He's very paranoid, and he thinks everyone's filming and watching him all the time, and everyone's a troll sort of thing. But I'm telling you right now, he's quite a very intelligent man. And I've chatted to him, but it wasn't on his Periscope. I think it was Wendy. Now Wendy's another character. Wendy, the slow adult, I think is the right term now. She used to be Wendy the retard from Howard Stern show. She discovered Periscope, and she's on Periscope. Although I haven't seen her for a little while. I think she's backed off Periscope now, and she's doing a lot of YouTube live. And she's got a fascination with Jim and Ann, so. She's always off watching his stuff or joining their stuff, and there's a couple other podcasts like Ross Dog or something like that, and and all that. So she's sort of watching those, and I sometimes listen to those. I actually listened to one today where Kenny was on Rostock, I think it was, and he was some sort of co-host or something. So, but the same thing is happening. They're sort of like making fun of him a little bit, but without going too far. But yeah, it wasn't that entertaining. But I sometimes listen to those if I'm working at the table here or doing stuff in my room. What else has been going on? And okay, there's another thing too. I actually want to talk to this lady. I haven't had a chance yet, but it drives Hansi absolutely crazy. I don't know if anybody of you guys want to listen to Hansi, watch any of his scopes. I mean, he talks a lot of wrestling, which is also a love of mine, so I don't really mind. It's not everyone's cup of tea, I understand. Hansi83 on is his Twitter. I probably scope. He's called Dusty Loads. Dusty Loads on Periscope. I thought that's hilarious. It's a wrestling thing. But there's this lady, right? And she calls into Hansi's scopes all the time, and he absolutely goes nuts. He goes, what do you want, Blurry? And she's called Blurry, right? I don't have any idea about her or what her name is or anything, right? But I'm just saying, she has, and she goes like this. She goes, "Good afternoon, Mr. Dusty." It just cracks me up. And Hansi's like, "What do you want, Blurry? What do you want? I thought you weren't going to call in anymore." He starts getting anxiety, man. And she's like, "Well, Dusty, I thought I would have to give you this important information." And she's got such a sexy voice. I don't know anything about her. And do I think she's doing it on purpose? I haven't worked it out. I can't work it out because she's got me convinced that is just her. But I'm telling you, if she's doing it on purpose and she's trolling in it in some senses, then she's just absolutely brilliant at it. And it sort of cracks me up. And I must admit, like, it drives Hansi crazy. And he could easily block her, or that's fine. But I actually there's one scope there that I actually wanted to listen to because she did a scope, like, God knows, it's probably 7 hours ago or something. But I haven't listened to it yet. And her voice is so sexy, and she's got such a cute laugh. But I don't understand like what she's doing. I don't know. It's just, you just got to check it out. Anyway, sorry, a friend just messaged me. I asked her what she was having for dinner, and she goes, "Laugh out loud, pizza and chips." So that sounds like a club. That sounds like a club dinner to me. I had a kebab. Mum brought me a kebab home because she was running late, and she said she'd bring tea home, but she didn't tell me what she was bringing. And then she brought a kebab home, and I'd already had one today because I went for blood test today, and I didn't eat for like 12 hours or something. And I had my blood test over in the area that I used to live, so I had a few favorite food places over there. So yeah, thanks to both of the YouTubers for their clips. One of them was Battle Chats, so check out Battle Chats, please. Jack actually was keen for me to do my podcast on Battle Chats, but I'm a very, very small timer and not looking to, haven't got an audience or a following or anything like that. So I politely declined. But I thank him very much for the offer. And the other YouTuber was the New Jersey 101.5 FM, I think it is. I grabbed that one off YouTube as well in those clips. So anyway, that's just about me for this week. And thank everyone for listening. It's more than likely, I'm probably going to stream it on YouTube very shortly. Just to get it up there, because most people just listen to the replay. But do realize, and I know this is tricky, that it wasn't live. It's pre-recorded, so don't be offended if I didn't reply to any comments. Although I can sit there and watch it and comment on the replay. I might actually do that. That's not a bad idea. But anyway, until next time, everyone, take care. There's Casper out here. Peace out.
traveling in a fried-out combi on a hippie trailhead full of zombies. I met a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, do you come from a land down under?